Alright, you lot. Gamers are losing plot and asking me why, like I'm priest of digital purgatory. But here we are, inbox full of questions that swing from why is gaming dying to is it okay to shoot my niece in Helldivers II? And you lot wonder why I drink. This is State of Gaming from me inbox, and it's bleaker than a Yorkshire winter with no gravy. You wanted answers? You're getting them, whether you like them or not. Like, subscribe and all that bollocks, because surviving this hellscape deserves a medal. Firkin L asks, hey Scotty, do you think kids rule gaming world now, or do you think oldies still do? Right mate, let's swing this bat straight at facts. Everyone thinks gaming's some kiddie playground now, but it's bollocks spun by marketing clowns selling Fortnite skins and Minecraft Legos. Truth is, biggest crowd in gaming right now is 30-somethings. Stats don't lie unless they're Activision's, and latest reliable breakdown shows 25 to 34-year-olds make up largest chunk, nearly a third. After that, it's 35 to 44s, then 45 to 64s. 18 to 24s? A blip. 3% at current gen gamers apparently. That's not a demographic, that's a rounding error. Actual kids, under 18 mob, they're not hardcore gamers. They're platform hoppers. They're on Roblox, Minecraft, maybe a splash of mobile Candy Crush filth. They're not deep in Helldivers or Escape from Tarkov or any game where bullets don't come with V-Bucks. Ever see a 12-year-old trying to install mods or configure a GPU? There'd be more use farting in Morse code. And funny twist, games that feel like they were made for children, COD, I'm looking at you, aren't for them. They're made by stunted babbies who think TikTok pacing belongs in tactical shooters. That's why half that shit feels like a strobe light strapped to a monkey's ass. Most proper gamers now are grumpy, cynical, overclocked adults who remember when games loaded from disk, not demands. They're on PC, not just cause it's better, but cause it's ours. Built, not bought. You ever seen a kid diagnose a dying SSD? Of course not. They'd cry cause Steam wouldn't auto-repair their feelings. So now, kids don't run gaming. They're screaming it. Oldies? We're still here. Still clicking. Still cursing patch notes like they're horoscopes. You know what they say? Where there's muck, there's brass. And old school gamers are still ones buried knee deep in both. Cheers for the question, mate. Asian Persuasion asks, Scotty, I'm going to rant about this whole tech that every FPS game that comes out nowadays needs a BR to be successful. Like, it absolutely makes me fume that people can't just let games be for what they are without tacking on some BR game mode. It's absolutely atrocious how these shiller streamers push for BRs for their own personal gain. Not for community, not for the viewers, not for success at game itself and what made it great, just their own channels, view counts, sub counts, clip farming, and not all of them, but most of them just ruin game for everyone else. It's just absolute absurd. End rant. Mate, you should have come with trigger warning for truth. Yeah, bang on money, and here's why. Battle Royale used to be a novelty. Now it's a bloody disease. One that spreads through every shooter like herpes at a TikTok rave. And culprits? It ain't just devs. It's influencer parasites who figured out that BRs are easy clickbait for the slow-brained audiences. They don't care if game's good. They care if they can get a 30-second snipe montage and fart out a reaction face for thumbnails. You're not mad at games. You're mad at what they could have been if someone in marketing said, but what if we added a shrinking circle and loot crates? Battlefield 6's latest corpse on altar. That game doesn't need a BR, needs therapy, real map, and maybe a dev team that ain't pissing into wind with a checklist from 2019. We've seen this already. Battlefield V had a BR. Remember that? Nah, no one does. 2042's BR was so embarrassing it got yeeted into oblivion like a farting hurricane. But here we go again. New game. Same mistake. Because algorithm wants it. Not players. And worst bit, Sweat's demanding it at first turns to uninstall when it flops. BRs now are so empty, they're filling lobbies with bots. Literal NPCs. Not metaphorical ones like devs. Actual fake players just to make numbers look real. That's digital equivalent to stuffing your pants at gym. You were right to rant. It's not absurd, it's terminal. If brains were made of dynamite, most BR devs wouldn't have enough to blow their nose. Thanks for that rage, matey. Jack Left Hand 427 asks, should I feel bad for revenge killing teammates in Helldivers II? I mean, accidentally I feel like a forgivable, but what about those times you just have to intro your buddy's skull to a bullet? Not proud of it, but I have also shot my 11-year-old niece playing this game. On purpose. She stole my machine gun and supply pack. Not gonna lie, mate, that might be the most honest thing I've ever read in a YouTube comment. Straight from guilt to justification in one breath like a proper war criminal. And you know what? You're not wrong. In Helldivers 2, Teamkilling isn't just part of the game, it is game. This isn't Fortnite with foam bullets. This is digital Wild West with orbital strikes, flaming bugs, and players who treat friendly fire like a dare. You don't play Helldivers to save Galaxy. You play it to accidentally on purpose carpet bomb your own squad and laugh like a drain while mission fails. I remember dropping in with my lads. We joined some poor sod off public matchmaking who begged for help with some high tier mission. Said he couldn't solo it. So we followed him to objective. Let him do all his work, then called extraction. We art him and flew off while he were mid-sentence. His comms cut out right as he started screaming. It were beautiful. Felt like I'd just wiped me ass with Geneva Convention. And as for your niece, look, she stole your machine gun. That's provocation. That's not murder. That's justice. You didn't shoot a child. You shot a looter. That's democracy. Helldivers is one game where team killing is both punishment and punchline. That's how we bond, through shrapnel and betrayal. Sure, there's always one pillock taking it too serious, barking orders like he's on manoeuvres in Basra, but for the rest of us, it's a slapstick war zone. You either laugh through blood or you're in wrong game. So no mate, don't feel bad. You're as right as rain. Thanks for the question, mate. Ages 444 asks, remember when Rockstar made good games in between the major titles? Bully, Manhunt, Midnight Club? Do you think they'll do that again at some point, or are they creatively bankrupt? Not that they still make good games in my opinion, it's just that there's a long dry period in between games for them. Rockstar made good games? I mean, sure, yeah, they made Max Payne, those were good, and Midnight Club, and oh yeah, there were, and not forgetting, all of them, good, good games, yeah, Rockstar, they made, good games, yeah. Do I think they'll make games that good again? Yeah, sure. Why not? We'll see. Cheers for the question, mate. Fixer2616 asks, hey Scotty, if you could relive playing any story game, which would it be? Easy, mate. Heaven's Remains. A game barely anyone's heard of, but hit me harder than most AAA story wanks combined. Quirky pixel art platformer, solo dev, cheap as chips, and somehow more emotionally layered than all we're Netflix dying. Now, not usual answer. Oh, Scotty, I'd reply Last of Us. Scotty, what about Red Dead? Scotty, what about Mass Effect? I've played them, but most of those were cinematic indulgence soaked in marketing and 4K puddles. Heaven's Remains were different. Minimalist. No combat. Just you. A series of increasingly clever puzzles. And a story that slowly gets under your skin like a splinter made of sorrow and suspicion. It's about a girl named Isis, searching for a boy genius named Evan who went missing. But it's not really about that. It's about what you're willing to believe, and how far you'll go for someone you don't really know. Whole thing unfolds like a whispered lie. By the time you realise what's actually going on, you're already neck deep in feels. I deleted my saves just to play it again blind, more than once. That's how I know it's special. And I got it for free back in the day, as part of my old Destructor indie reviewer days. Devs would send me the games directly. No PR middleman, no influencer fluff, just raw, uncut gaming soul. That channel's long dead now, nuked into digital ash. But Heaven's Remains still lingers, still lives rent-free in the back of my brain next to taste of Freddos that were actually cheap. It's lesser a game and more a memory, and sometimes its bit industry forgets. Don't matter how flashy your shaders are or how big your map is, if story don't stick, you're just selling noise. It's not about big budgets, it's about small scars. And Heaven's Remains left one I'm glad to scratch again. Cheers for the question, mate. And I'm going to ask everyone watching, what story would you relive? Pyro Friendly Arsonist 9195 asks, hey Scotty, will Splitgate 2 reclaim the place? Short answer? No, need a fucking miracle. A blood pact. Maybe a time machine. Splitgate had its moments. Portal meets Halo was slick, sharp, and hit like a surprise left hook. But instead of riding that wave into something tight and polished, devs stopped. Not paused, not slowed, they stopped development to make a new game and told everyone to just wait. Like a waiter coming over mid-bite to say, cheers for trying starter. Main course will be done in 2027. And while they were off building engine and dreaming about esports, community dissolved like sugar cube in piss. People don't wait anymore. This ain't 2004. If your game goes quiet, it goes dead. Once it's dead, trying to revive it is like master in a pigeon. Messy, thankless, people stare. Now you got whiny little goblins out there demanding things they don't even understand. Ray tracing in a corridor shooter, 5 new modes, ranked on day 1, 0 bugs, 0 cheaters, perfect netcode, and a dev who calls them beautiful every patch note. These are the same creatures who shout, "Dead game," after one streamer logs off for a week. That reason games are shit broken, cause devs are too busy chasing feedback from players who change their minds mid-sentence. Splitgate 2 might come back strong. The Saint rate thinks, they've got tech behind them, and they're not stupid. But do they still have community? That's real bastard. Cause same mob who loves Splitgate for being different also shredded it for not becoming Apex in a week. They want steak, but cry when it's not in a Happy Meal. So yeah, Pyro, it could reclaim its place, but only if it stops trying to please everyone and just pleases its ones who gear shit to begin with. Otherwise it'll gut way of Lawbreakers, Crucible, and all other once loved, now forgotten digital ghosts. Cheers for that, and Pyro. Pyro sent another and asks, "Scotty, is COD movie gonna flop or be a banger?" Right, listen. They had golden ticket. Steven bloody Spielberg wanted to do it. Man behind Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, half at missions in early CODs. Basically, reason COD even exists in first place. That guy raised his hand and said, "Let me do this." And Activision, in their infinite bean-counting wisdom, said, "Nah." Why? Because Spielberg wanted full creative control. Can't imagine why. It's not like he's a world-class filmmaker or all. So instead they go crawling to Paramount. Now Paramount's not awful. The Guinness, Black Hawk Down, Fury, even Overlord, which if you ain't seen, is basically COD Zombies movie with extra Nazi filth and no YouTuber voice actors. So there's potential. But this ain't about talent. This is about control. Activision don't want a great movie. They want an extended cutscene. They want something that sells skins, boosts engagement, maybe lands a Netflix deal with laser-eyed ghost Funko Pops. That's modern goal. Not art, not storytelling, just product synergy. And let's be honest, even if it does look good, fanbase will eat itself alive before trailer drops. Half the players want it to be gritty, other half want it to be Modern Warfare 2 memes with guns. No matter what they make, someone's gonna cry that Soap wants Scottish enough, or that they didn't include Airport Massacre in slow-mo. Only way this works is if they go all in. Let Spielberg touch it. Bring in actual military consultants who don't sound like they've only played Armour once. Use real stunt teams, not Marvel leftovers. And if they dare to do zombies, they better copy Overlord's entire energy and crank it up. But please, for the love of all things bullet-riddled, keep Michael Bay out of it. I don't want to watch Captain Price do 6 slow-motion barrel rolls through a fuel depot while shouting about friendship. Bay's great for robot porn, but this needs bite, not fireworks. So will it flop? If they try to make a movie or a franchise instead of a story, yeah. But if they let someone who gives a shit drive thing, it could shock us all. Thanks for the question, mate. That's your inbox, dissected, torched and served with sarcasm. You lot never fail to deliver most unhinged, unfiltered questions this side of Patch Note Meltdown, and I wouldn't have it any other way. If I didn't answer your question this week, sling it in again next time, louder and ruder. And if you're one of those lurking twonks thinking, well actually, sling your hook, no one asked. Join Discord, follow on X, links are in the description. Consider a channel membership if you want to fund my tea addiction and further descent into madness. Smash like it, subscribe, drop your comments and questions below. But only if your keyboard's not covered in crisp dust and tears. And I'll see you next time, you magnificent